Hey guys, I'm Brittany Cruz.
And I'm Maggie Lane, and we are from the Red Hawk Reporter. We want to share a video with you today. It's not really like our normal Soul Ramen, but we feel like it'll make you look at our world in a different light.
In the fall of 2012, we did a project that was inspired by the living newspapers about the problems in America during and after the Great Depression.
The focus of the project addressed apathy and how people turned a blind eye to the problems of Americans during this time.
As you watch this video, we hope you grasp a sense of how poisonous apathy can be, not only historically, but in our modern day world.
And now for our rendition of the living newspapers.
Welcome to our project, Living Newspapers, Then and Now, a project created through our documentary tradition course here at Martin Methodist.
This semester, we've explored in depth the documentary tradition that was formulated during the Great Depression of the 1930s. We've come to understand a particular way of seeing and representing others. Under the administration of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a federally funded arts program was created to document the effect the Depression was having on Americans. The Works Progress Administration, or the WPA, was comprised of many components. Social scientists and photographers spread out and covered geographic areas and communities that were falling between the cracks of assistance. They produced thousands of black and white raw photographs and interviewed thousands of unemployed Americans and farmers struggling to produce crops.
Roosevelt believed that the New Deal could only be sold to Congress and successfully implemented if a bright light was shined on those impacted by the Depression, putting a face on a societal and economic catastrophe. One of the elements of the WPA was the Federal Theater Project. Using dramatic productions and actual current newspapers as sources, the Federal Theater Project depicted big societal issues in a theatrical way. The series of productions were called Living Newspapers. The program was dismantled after just a few years due to the controversial nature of the political ideology behind the productions.
During one of our readings this semester, we were struck by the concept of living newspapers. When we apply the concept to our world today, it makes sense. In an age when people are bombarded by news sources, we often tune out and don't participate in civic life. Bringing current news to life in the form of theatrical productions is cost prohibitive on a grand scale, so we've selected a few short scenes from actual living newspapers to share with you.
We don't have a room with great acoustics or the most up-to-date technology, but we think you will be able to look past that. The first two scenes are from a play called AAA Plowed Under, a production that depicted the plight of Dust Bowl farmers and the problems arising from the use of middlemen in the agriculture-based economy. Next, we will show you short scenes from the play entitled Power, a deep and layered play focusing on the Tennessee Valley Authority and the role electricity and electricity pricing played in the 1930s.
Lastly, we have created a scene of our own that addresses what we think is a current problem among college students of epic proportion: apathy. This isn't a big headline story you'll see often because it's an invisible state of being. But if we could create a living newspaper full-scale theater production, it would shine a light on this silent problem, as we think it is even bigger than all of the issues facing Americans in the 1930s.
What do you want?
A bowl of oatmeal.
Okay, got 3 cents?
Got 2 cents.
Not a chance, gotta have 3 cents.
But it was 2 cents yesterday.
Sorry, pal, prices went up today.
In the Tennessee Valley, which is parts of 7 states, includes 40,000 square miles and 2 million people, people are living in a region blighted by the misuse of land and by the wash of small streams carrying away the fertile topsoil. In these cabins, life has changed but little since some pioneer wagon broke down a century ago, and for them this became the promised land. Occupations, when they exist at all, are primitive, a throwback to an earlier America. Here stands the results of poor land, limited diet, insufficient schooling, inadequate medical care, no plumbing, industry, agriculture, or electrification. Meanwhile, the entire country seeks cheap electric power, and the demand for a cost yardstick comes from every section. In the Tennessee Valley, 1933.
Beats me how you see to read in that light.
What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with it? You're staring down the end of your nose like you had a bug on the end of it.
It's the same light I've been using for the past 20 years.
Yeah, and look at you now. Them glass are thick enough to fry eggs under if we ever got any sun in this dump.
Andy Jackson used to use a lamp like this, Nora.
That is too bad for Andy Jackson. Besides, they didn't have electricity in them days.
Well, maybe I just better start reading during the day.
How?
What do you mean, how?
How are you going to read during the day when you're out there plowing from sun up till sundown?
Well, maybe I just better quit reading.
That's right. Don't make no fuss and everybody will love you.
What do you want me to do, Nora? The wick's up as far as it'll go.
Never mind the wick. How about we get a couple of nice electric lights around this place?
We've been over that before, and there ain't nothing that I can do about it.
Ain't there?
You seen Joe Frank's farm? His farm's bigger than mine, and he needs lights. They ain't doing nothing for him.
So you and Joe are getting up a little club in the daytime to read, eh? Suppose they told you couldn't have any air, would you stop breathing?
What's that got to do with it?
Light's just as important as air.
Well, sure it is, but
Don't butt me. Do something about it.
if they don't want to string lights out to my farm, I can't make them.
Who says you can't? Who says you can't go down there and raise holy blazes until they give them to you? Tell them you're an American citizen. Tell them you're sick and tired of looking at their vacuums and heaters and dishwashing machines and that you'd actually like to use them for a change. Tell them, well, what the hell do you think Andy Jackson would do in a case like this? Now go out there and tell him something. Here it is, $6.92. Say, what do you do with all the juice around here? Eat it?
No, darling, we burn it.
Well, good Lord, I only paid $35 for rent for this whole house.
What's that got to do with it?
It seems all out of proportion. 1/5 for electricity. If this keeps up, I'll have to cut down on my life insurance.
That'll be nice.
But if I had the kind of wife who'd turn the light off when she went out of the room, I wouldn't have to.
I did that once, and you almost broke your leg going back into it.
Well, we've got to cut down. Our bills shouldn't be more than $3 a month.
That's what I say.
Don't say anything. Do something about it.
Okay, well, let's throw out your radio then.
Then how can I hear any football games? Let's throw out the vacuum.
And me get down on my hands and knees? I think not.
How about the washing machine? You used to send stuff out.
Yeah, and your shirt came back with no cuffs, remember?
Well, we've got to do something. You got any ideas?
Yeah, I've got one.
What is it?
Has it ever occurred to you that those electric people just charge way too much money?
Sure it has. And what can I do? Bump my head against the wall?
No, but you can tell the State Electric Commission.
Look, dear, I'm just one little consumer. How can I find utility?
Well, tell the commission. That's what they're there for.
Why, they won't even listen to me.
Well, make them. Tell them. Tell them that your taxes pay their salary. Tell them that that's what they're there for, to regulate things. Tell them that you're tired of making dividends for somebody else. And tell them that the little man deserves a look-in someplace. And tell them you'll be damned if you'll be giving up your Saturday night footballs. Now get going.
By God, I've got to have lights, I tell you.
Certainly, Mr. Parker, you can have all the lights you want. All you have to do is pay for the poles and the wires.
But I haven't got $400, and my farm's mortgaged up to the hilt already. Can't you see? If I only had me some juice, I could get an electric churn and pay for those poles.
I'm sorry, Mr. Parker, but that's not the way that we operate. I'm afraid we can't help you.
Then I got to go living on my life with a kerosene lamp and a hand churn like my grandfather did when he lived here.
until you can raise the cost of equipment.
Isn't there anybody else I can talk to?
I'm the manager here. There is nobody else.
Isn't there any other company I can go to?
We're the only one in this part of the state.
So when you turn me down, I'm finished?
That's right.
My God, the government ought to do something about this. Daddy, where do we get electricity from?
We get it from the electric company.
Where does the company get it from?
They generate it.
What's generate mean?
Generate means... Can't you see Daddy's busy? Why don't you play with your dolly, dear?
How do they generate it, Daddy?
Oh, well, sometimes they run the dynamos with steam engines, and sometimes they run the dynamos with water.
What's a dynamo?
The dynamo is a... Hey, what do you want to know all this stuff for anyways?
I know. A dynamo is what they make electricity with. We learned that in school.
Why didn't you learn the rest in the school?
What would happen if the company stopped giving us electricity, Daddy?
We'd be in one hell of a fix.
Then why doesn't the government give us electricity?
Well, it'd be competing with private business. And besides, everybody knows that the government wouldn't be efficient.
Daddy, who runs the post office?
The government runs the post office.
Why does the government run the post office?
Because it's too important to permit anyone else to do it.
Well, Daddy, don't you think electricity is important? You said we'd be in one hell of a fix if the company quit giving it to us.
You watch your language, young lady.
That's what you said, Daddy.
The post office and electric lights are different.
Daddy, who is the government?
The government's, it's you and me, it's the people.
Do all the people need electricity?
Yes,
And does the company own what all the people need?
that's right.
Gee, Daddy, the people are awfully dumb. I can't buy that auto.
Can't take that shipment.
I can't use you anymore.
I can't eat.
He's dead. I drowned him.
What?
I drowned my son. He was hungry, and I couldn't feed him. I let him wait in the creek until he got tired. And then I held his head under until he stopped moving.
Give me the body. I'm booking you for murder. Why did you do it?
I couldn't feed him. I only had 5 cents.
Your own child. Did you think you were doing the right thing?
It had to be done. It was the right thing to do.
How could a mother kill her own child?
I couldn't feed him. I only had 5 cents. He was hungry. Hungry.
Don't know what I'm gonna do. I haven't started on the paper. My test is tomorrow, and we don't even have an idea for a project yet.
President Obama to withdraw troops from Afghanistan.
This might work. It's not great, but it might work.
Thousands flee Syrian civil war, suffering in refugee camps.
I need to research my sources and look over my review.
Congress gridlock leading to possible economic catastrophe.
Let's see if I can find some sources.
Gunman opens fire in Aurora, Colorado, theater killing 12.
Gee, I haven't even checked out Facebook today.
Vote to allow gays in the Boy Scouts has been postponed.
Elizabeth needs to see this on Pinterest.
American gas prices rise for 42 consecutive days.
This silence is killing me. I need to focus.
Survey shows Americans oppose presence in the Middle East.
I need to put on some music.
North Korea conducts nuclear tests.
If I can just focus, I can get this done.
Only half of registered voters show for the presidential election.
This is gonna take forever.
20 children massacred in a school at Newtown, Connecticut.
I'm hungry. I'm just gonna get back. I wish something exciting would happen around here.